Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Mania 7 Key World Cup 2024. We are back once again with the final match of the round of 24 weekend, and what a way to cap off a weekend of very exciting matches filled with a bunch of debutants and a bunch of pretty exciting results. And by bringing you the United States going up against Spain to round things off with a nice little bow. As always, my name is Sparky, and I'm joined in the commentary booth by none other than Juan Crystal. Juan, how you doing?
Hello, good sir. I'm doing fantastic. Starting off really, but this is like the closure of the 7 Key World Cup weekend really, as we are entering the end of the round of 24. A bit of a complex format for some to understand, I think. But we shall see how it rolls out. This particular matchup, the United States against Spain, a bit of an, you can call this imbalance, at least on the seed department, really. Spain barely qualifying this year against the very solid United States, who I think we are used to see maybe on the higher seeds, like even higher than number 10, but still, like, in a tournament with only 24 qualifiers, just qualifying is already quite defeat. And not defeat, but like defeat. Like, I'm not sure if you get what I mean, but you should. In any case.
Yeah,
I'm excited for this match. It's going to be fun.
Oh, absolutely. Like you were mentioning, a bit of a seed discrepancy between these two countries, the United States, a bit of a rebuilding year, bringing back some long-standing names in the US 7 Key community, and Spain, a bit of a rebuilding year for them, losing quite a few of their heavy hitters this time around, bringing in a lot of fresh faces. And gonna be interesting to see how they perform with this new lineup. I think 3 out of 4 of these players making their debut, or at least being on this team for not as long as some of the others that we might have been used to seeing in years past. So looks like we are getting into the protects and bans, and it looks like I see some LNs and Rice being protected, and then we get into the bans, and it looks like Hybrid 3 is going to be removed from this map pool.
I'm trying to check if I see some specific points where Spain can capitalize off, but both teams look quite similar in their qualifiers results. Like, they have, I don't want to say average scores, but like most of the stages have a pretty similar relative position to the rest of the teams. So like the US is almost in every map, like either number 10 or number 9 or 11. And with Spain, it's almost the same. It's like they are always running around number 20 on every single map. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic, really. I feel the United States and Spain are both like fairly around-ish teams, but the United States is looking obviously a little bit stronger considering the seed. So this could be one of those cases where maps are fairly close, but what teams ends up running away with a fairly strong lead. Like, if this is a sweep, I wouldn't be surprised, but mostly because of the US and Spain not really having any clear weaknesses, and it's just a matter of one team is likely just better than the other, and because there's no things that can be exploited, then it's almost always a 5-0 in my experience. But we shall see if the pool this time, because it's a little bit easier, I feel, at the qualifiers, it could happen that accuracy takes a bigger factor and we see some picks going like back and forth between the team.
Yeah, for sure. And with that out of the way, it looks like Rice 3 got banned out while we were discussing likely expectations for this match, and LN3 does get chosen by the United States to start things off here. Pretty interesting seeing the LN lead in. Usually teams like to scope each other out in the field of like some of these Rice picks, maybe some of the more comfortable like Korgstream or just straight up speed picks. But no, we're going to go into the LN density. It's going to be Mashu and Tasty Dumpling, and it looks like Lucas678 and Shirope de Fresa are going to be the two from Spain looking to try and take the first breakpoint in this match as we get it on underway here.
So we shall see. This is a map I expect to be like either decided by the last bit if both teams are like holding their ground on the combo department, given that it's more like difficulty or like control. Control is pretty difficult for the later stages of this map, so I expect teams to be dropping around that point. If they can hold their ground through, then it's going to be decided there, most certainly. But for now, both teams are opening up strong, I think. Shiro P de Fresa is a little bit behind in terms of accuracy compared to everybody else. But, I mean, in Olympics, you can easily drop, and that is the case for Shiro specifically. Unfortunately, Spain will end up starting with the left foot. That is not their pick, but you never want to start with the first miss of the match, do you?
Yeah, for sure. Going to give the United States a bit of an advantage to work with. Lucas Falls as well. Both FCs now gone on the side of Spain. Both FCs still remaining for the United States. Mashu and Tasty Dumpling hovering in and around this 99.6% range. Very comfortable so far through this first third of the chart. There's still plenty of tricks left up this map's sleeve, so not out of the woods just yet, but nursing this 18,000 point lead definitely will give them a bit of a cushion to work with should they find any slip-ups later on down the line.
This is looking quite solid though. Halfway through the map, they are holding a very solid 20,000 point lead here in a map that is 234 minutes long. It's a very, very good lead, I will say. Like, they could probably both drop and still be ahead, but you have to be careful. The ending, as we said, it's hard to control, so we could see some drops. But the thing is, if the US drops, it's almost very likely as well that Spain will be drawing their combos, so they really need to start picking up their performances, and they are on the combo department. It's just that the accuracies are still not quite there yet. I think Lucas is doing a great job, but Shiro needs to tighten up that ratio a little bit. As you can see, his hit concentration a bit early, and he ends up dropping after all in this very heavy long nose section with the triples. Coordinating the fingers being pretty tricky. United States, on the other hand, destroying the chat.
Yeah, for sure. Going through into this last quarter, some of the densest sections of the chart done and dusted. Both players, Mashu and Tasty Dumpling, holding on to their full combos for the moment. There are a couple minor tricky sections left in this chart, so not out of the woods just yet if they want to hold on to this double FC, but it is looking very good for them, not trading any of those misses that Shiro P de Fresa found in that last section. And as the last notes come down, it will be the United States successfully picking up their first point in this match to make it 1-0.
Very solid performance there. Double FC is always nice to have, and they both have almost the exact same score, it feels like, right? 984k both, only 500 points of difference between the two US players. And mostly off of the ratio, it seems like Mashu had a 106 200 extras, but the ratio being quite better. Comparable ratios though between Lucas and Tasty, so it gives us some pictures, I think, where Rise could be something that Spain wants to go for. They struggle to hit their combo, especially on heavy coordinations, and they will indeed go straight into Raindrop. Rise 2 being picked here. Arguably the most straightforward pick of the pool, I will say. Like, Core Streams is like the kind of map that most players are very used to play and are very familiar and comfortable with. And considering this will likely be an ACK battle, seeing Lucas and Bunsen, like, I'm not sure if it was Bunsen, I know if it was someone else in the previous map, but ratios were not too spread apart, and this is a map that is simple enough that a single miss can cost the whole difference. So if Spain is comfortable hitting a double FC on this, I think they have a fair chance.
Yeah, for sure. Like you were mentioning, this could very well come down to the ratio. All four of these players definitely very used to Chord Stream as a whole, just as a category in the Rice section. And having it at 155 BPM, this is definitely inside of the wheelhouse where they could all swing a very strong performance. And to your point, a singular miss could decide this entire map if all four players basically perform to expectation here.
Out of the gate, seems like Bunsen is holding the highest accuracy, and Kadoen is struggling a little bit to hit that. I believe he got a 200 or 2 at the very early stage. And so far, it's only 4,000 points that is dividing these two teams. Lucas suddenly putting up a great battle here, matching Mashu's accuracy. So will mostly come down to how much can Kado tighten up his ratio here as the map progresses. We have a bit of a break here, and we see a very stationary 6.6 thousand points of advantage to the Americans here.
Yeah, making our way into the second quarter of the chart. Start to pick things up ever so slightly, get back into the main meat and potatoes of this chart. And all 4 players still holding on to their FCs. We have a top half versus bottom half battle. Mashu going up against Lucas and Bunsen, basically handling Kadoan at the moment, a full percent ahead in terms of accuracy. And I believe that's accounting for a majority, if not all, of the score difference at the moment, to the tune of about 15,000 points as we cross the midway section, continuing on with some of these dense chords raining down. Handled expertly by this entire lobby. Nobody batting an eye. Could all change in an instant if anybody were to find a drop, but so far, nobody has missed.
And there's only a third of the map left. The United States looking like they will get their first breakpoint on the first pick by Spain here. And I want to really highlight Bones' performance here. His ratio, his hit concentration extremely tight here. Definitely putting the work here for the United States. Mashu not leaving him too much ahead because only a 0.03% of difference. Now with a miss for Kadoan, 2 in a row make it. It will be almost impossible here for Spain to catch up. The United States, although dropping now with Mashu, will still hold the lead. Not double FC this time, but definitely a very, very solid score.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunate to lose the FC this late on in the run, but I mean, so long as your score is higher than your opponent's at the end of the day, that is all that matters. At the end of the day, as the United States will successfully take the first breakpoint in this match to make it 2-0 now.
And I was mentioning the ratio could be close. It doesn't seem like it is when it comes to Rise. The LNs, Lucas was showing up impressive ratios, and so is he doing this time. But impressive is unfortunately not good enough against such a strong accuracy powerhouse like the United States here. 10-to-1 ratio for almost both of the players. And that is very, very, very tricky to beat. Kadoan having a bit of a problem here calling up the combo. Not too bad, 2000 combo here is still pretty solid. But with the ratio being about 3-to-1, it's kind of hard to compete against the team in the United States. Even with double FCs here from Spain, I don't think they had enough to overpower the ratio and the accuracy that the United States showed up on the straightforward Ricey oriented picks. So maybe they want to go for a more wildcardish pick next time. I'm not sure if Rice 4 would be a good bet for them, but maybe trying something wild like it could work. United States, on the other hand, I think they just stick to the LN game plan. Although they won this, I think, more comfortably than the LN.
Yeah, it actually did seem that way. I think this was a more comfortable win overall in terms of overall score difference. But regardless, it looks like they're going to stick to their guns. They're going to stick to this bottom half of the map pool. They're going to go for Hybrid 2 this time around. It's going to be Pure Silver coming through for them. Pretty tricky pick overall. We'll probably see Tasty Dumpling check back in for the United States. We'll wait to see if Spain makes any substitutions. Usually with these hybrids, there's enough variance to keep more rice-oriented players in here if they can handle some of the LN sections found throughout the map.
It's an interesting pick. I'm not necessarily sure if I agree with this. Like, in fairness, I think the United States is looking just over a little bit better, so I don't think it matters all that much. Like, I think they still have a favorable expected win rate, I will say, for pretty much every pick. But of all the picks, I don't think Pure Silver is the better choice. It has a very techy structure, I think, and it's easy to miss and drop a lot of accuracy if you're out of focus. So I could see Spain like maybe popping off and holding their combos together, and the United States struggling, like not necessarily struggling with the map, but like it's a map that you could choke a fair amount, and a map that you can choke accuracy a fair amount as well. So I would maybe go for something more straightforward, considering they are looking solid in the consistency department and the accuracy seems to be overall better. But we shall see. This should work still, I think, for the United States. But, well, maybe Spain has a chance to come back into the game.
Yeah, for sure. Remains to be seen. Bit of a longer pick compared to some of the other ones we have seen, clocking in just over 2.5 minutes. And there are some very wonky grace note structures both in LN and Rice, so you definitely got to watch some of these starts and stops. Some varied release timings as well can keep you on your toes, but everybody seems to be handling it with relative ease. Everybody crossing that 400 combo cap, gonna start getting full credit for their judgments, and now after this point any misses are gonna have some pretty devastating consequences moving forward.
seems like both teams are holding the ground fairly well. It's the same picture as we saw in the previous picks. United States holding just the overall better accuracy. This time it seems like the accuracy is a bit more on the edge. Like they have a very clear advantage against both of the players in the Spanish side, and Cadwin finds the first miss as well. That's not going to help them at all.
Yeah, unfortunate to finally lose the FC, especially at the midway point when you've already firmly established yourself with the FC. Everybody else still hanging on here, and it's going to help grow this lead for the United States to the tune of about 24,000 points as we take a bit of a break here before things start to pick up once again. A couple of nondescript flams to read through, but everybody makes it through unscathed, and now Cadwin back up over that 400 combo cap, gonna be able to rejoin supporting Lucas in their efforts to try and claw back some of this lead with about a third of the chart left to go here.
Jack's a bit tricky. Physicality gets there here at the very end of the chart, but it's no problem for the United States. Well, never mind, it is. Unfortunately for Tasty Dumpling, who ends up finding a miss at the very end of the chart. Not like it matters too much, still 30,000 points of advantage for the United States here. And despite the fact that Spain managed to combo through that ending, their misses at the middle of the chart end up proving to be too much for them to recover from. Lucas certainly doing a great job here. I believe without the miss, he would have gotten the second best score of the match. But that isn't good enough. Cadon definitely struggling a little bit with those flam release timings there. He saw another miss coming from him, and the United States will capitalize off of that, take this point, and it's now 3-2-0. Very, very solid start here for the North Americans.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking comfortable all around on this early game map pool. Able to take a point on the Rice, able to take a point on the LN, and now doing it on the hybrid. Gonna leave all the questions to be answered for Spain now, as it is now their pick once again. What do you go for here to try and kind of right the ship a little bit? See if you can pull a fast one here on the United States. And it looks like they tried to go for Rice 3, but that was banned. So not going to be able to go into the more straightforward core jack pick. Has been the most popular ban, I believe, so far this weekend outside of LN1. So with that being out, they're going to opt to go for Rice 5 instead. It's going to be Unknown Amnesia to try and notch a point on the board here, unless the United States can make it a match point situation right out the gate here.
Kind of interesting that Spain, being the lower seed, is going for Rice 5. Like, usually it feels like the most physical teams like to go for this specific map, and you would expect that to be the highest seed. So Spain looking confident, or at least feeling confident about their chances when it comes to later or more like physically demanding shots, or maybe they're just looking for something that tests the limits of the United States and maybe trying to go for that rather to pick to their strengths, to pick then something that the United States may find a miss or two. We shall see if it works.
Yeah, I think that's probably more the avenue they're trying to go for here. Maybe seeing that the more straightforward picks, they probably can't out-accuracy the United States, so they're probably going to try and pull a fast one, hope they can catch the United States napping a little bit on some of these harder patterns, maybe a miss here or there. And if they can keep it consistent enough, the accuracy doesn't have to be pristine, doesn't have to be in this like 99.78 range, can just be in the 99%, maybe even 98s if you're lucky enough, and be able to sneak a point away from what has been a very consistent United States roster so far. Mashu checking back in, Shirobe de Fresa as well for their respective countries, and we are now underway, fourth map of this best of 9. Let's see how they do.
Tricky mini jacks here, no one is having any difficulties with them, and it seems like the accuracy, at least at the very start as we hit the combo cap, quite close compared to previous picks. So for now, it seems like the map pick that Spain decided to go for is working to some degree. They have to wait and pray for a miss here from the United States. These fast streams proving to be not that big of a problem for any of the players here. Shiro, the only player dropping a little bit of accuracy, but Lucas holding their ground again, as we have been seeing pretty much in every map so far with the United States. Mashu and Bunsen though looking solid here, no complications whatsoever, and though this map is only 2 minutes and 30 seconds, like not the longest pick in the world, the patterns being pretty trainy can mean that at the end of the chart, we start to see these hit concentrations that are at the moment very tight by all the players loosen up and spread out a little bit. So pay attention to that. Later stages of the map will likely be the deciding factor here, especially considering that nobody has dropped yet.
Yeah, we're reaching that point where misses are going to be extremely detrimental to either of these countries' overall performances. But for right now, the United States starting to really pick up the pace here, climbing up. Both of them actually over that 99.7 mark, aiming for about a 990k score at the moment, at least on pace for it with about a third of the map left to go. Spain falling a little bit behind, but still sticking to their game plan. If they can FC their way through this and hope for some late misses here going into the last quarter from the United States, they are still in with a shout, but Shido finds the first drop going into the final drop of the map, crossing that 2000 combo barrier. And that is going to help grow this lead for the United States. A second one to boot, and that is probably going to be all she wrote here for Spain at the moment, unless there is a cataclysmic collapse from the United States here with an eighth of the map left to go. It is still looking very good for the Americans at the moment. 33,000 points to their name, a very healthy cushion to work with here.
And it did seem like at the moment that density started to pick up just a little bit, the stamina showing as a problem for Shido Fresa, as he's currently rushing quite a bit as well. That's a sign of you struggling to keep up with the map, mostly on the mental side of stamina, I don't think physically specifically. And that ends up being too much for Spain to handle. United States wins another break point, and now they're on match point. Quite a close pick, contested pick until the very end. An FC here by Lucas and double FC by the United States. And the US can now pick to win. They are looking very, very solid. Not sure what they will go for. Well, though they actually just immediately pick Chronox. Yeah. So we're going to their protect. And I mean, for the most part, this usually smells like game over. When you are like a match point and you still have your protect available, that's a very rough spot to be if you're the losing team.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not a spot you want to find yourself in. But excellent pick coordination from the United States. On the other hand, able to keep this in the back pocket long enough to be able to spring it out to try and clinch the match. I always like to say that last point for certain teams is always the hardest one to get. So having that protect, that comfort pick for this long, to be able to use it to close out a match is definitely something to look forward to for the United States, as we were probably going to see Tasty Dumpling check back in to back up Mashu, and I believe Spain deliberating who is going to contest against them on what could potentially be the final pick in this match.
It seems like they are fairly excited about a potential comeback here, so maybe they have a surprise cooking? Hopefully, that would be very insane.
Absolutely, going to need to pull out the brooms here, get the reverse sweep up and running if they want to try and get the upset victory over the United States here.
To be fair, if you beat the team being on match point down in their protect, that's usually a big confidence boost, to be honest.
Absolutely.
So we shall see. I like this match dynamics though that the United States decided to go for. Like, I see some teams maybe going for the protect first to ensure that they get the right foot starting, but that could lead to like very heavy morale problems if you happen to lose your protect early on at the start of the match. So sometimes saving up for last is best. It usually works with I think, a team that is dominating the match, like it's the case here for the United States. So I think their strategy ended up paying off fairly well. We shall see at the end of the map, of course. But like, it feels like picking protects early on, it's a risky strategy that I think works best against teams that are close to you. But leaving it for last is usually best for teams that you are expecting to do better. But it's interesting. Every team has like their own way to set up their strategies and their dynamics. And they all have like fair reasons to just protect and pick their protects at different times. And I think it's a very interesting tournament dynamic that is yet to be explored a fair bit, I think, by most teams.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely leaves a lot to be considered. But with that being said, looks like we had a last-minute substitution. We had Mini Creamy coming in at the last second and having a bit of a rough go at this introduction.
It seems like they are not. They don't have their hands on the keyboard, it seems, for a moment. and now is struggling. Maybe they have the wrong scroll speed or the wrong skin. Oh, that's a big of a disaster.
Yeah, not the way you want to start your potential last pick in a match, but unfortunately you got to play the hand that you're dealt, and the United States got dealt a pretty favorable one to start this map off, going into the second quarter already a bit of a runaway here, if I do say so myself. 190,000 points, gonna cross 200,000 before too long as we get this second third underway. I don't know about you, Juan. I don't like calling things done and dusted in the introduction, but I think we could probably put this one to bed pretty early here.
Oh, it sounds like it. It's unfortunate though. Like, I'm not really sure, because I think this is the first map we're seeing Mini Creamy joining. So it's kind of hard to tell like what the issue really is, because as you see when we get into this lighter section, they seem to be hitting the patterns just fine, but as it gets denser, they don't. So I'm not sure if they are... Like, this sounds like it is a scroll speed problem, or maybe using the wrong skin. But they are hitting extremely late, and that's very, very strange.
Yeah, I mean...
But yeah, I'll call this dusted already, really. Like, I don't think it's, like, decisive enough that a player from the United States can disconnect and still win it. They surely can't, but it is almost there.
Yeah, we're already at the outro. It's been a pretty unfortunate circumstance, but I mean, it is one of those things that does happen as we see a pretty rare playfield collapse in Mania, and the United States will ride that to victory to the tune of a score of 5-0, punching their ticket into the winners round of 16 and knocking Spain down into that lower bracket. Not out of it just yet, but gonna need to make the run from here on out.
And there it is. They were claiming they had the wrong scroll speed.
Oh,
unfortunate.
That is unfortunate there. You hate to see it, but hopefully they can get that straightened out for next week. And like I said, they're not eliminated just yet, but hopefully they learn from this. Don't come rushing into a lobby without your settings all in check. If not, disaster will strike. But that will do it for the round of 24 weekend. We had 8 matches up, 8 matches down, and we have a full solidified bracket now. It's going to be very interesting. The United States will face off against Canada next weekend in the round of 16. I know that one for sure. Checked the bracket before this match started.
I mean, that's going to be an interesting matchup. Like, despite how close the match can be, it's always fun, at least to me, to see two teams of the same continent matching against each other. It feels like they know each other a little bit better to some degree, or at least they are like close enough, so it's like a healthy rivalry of sorts. So I don't know, I'm also excited to see those kind of matches. Like, every time I see like Peru against Brazil or Argentina against Brazil, or a match like, I don't know, France against Poland, like those kind of matches that are from the same continent are always fun to watch. Like,
oh, absolutely. It does.
And this is not an exception, really. Yeah, I think the two teams are fairly well, like, closely matched as well, so that's likely gonna be a very exciting one, a highlight, I think, for next weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely mark it on your calendars for next weekend. But with that being said, that will do it for the round of 24. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed some of the electrifying matches we've had so far. There's only one order of business left to do before we round out the weekend, though, and we have the round of 16 map pool showcase. You gotta take a little bit of time to get all that squared away, get everything set up for that. We'll be having that hopefully at the top of the hour at 19 UTC. So for those of you interested in seeing what the next map pool is going to be, stick around and you'll be in for quite the show. But Juan, is there anything else people watching along can do to maybe lend their support to the teams that are playing in this World Cup?
I mean, there's always, this option. Like, I believe there's this shop item or some sauce that you can get for like 250 cents, I think, that shows on your profile and it's very fancy. I think it's called a banner or something.
Oh, right, you are.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to support your team, your favorite team. It doesn't matter if they win or not. Like, it's just showing your love to them. You get a fancy, shiny banner on your profile, like, hey, I support Team X or Team Y or any team you want. Of course, there's an incentive, like if you happen to pick the winner, that banner stays up for a little bit longer. But I mean, I like that, but I also like supporting the team I like the most, so I wouldn't just go for the one that I think got seed 1 and is going to win the tournament. Just get the one that you prefer, show the love for the team that you love the most, and that will, of course, help funding the prize pool. So it's always nice to do if you support the tournament as a thing and just the teams in general. We all appreciate it. And if you don't, that's also fine. You could just stay, watch the streams, and that's the main goal, is just to have fun.
Absolutely. But with that being said, that will do it for us here for now. We'll catch you guys in about 30 minutes for that round of 16 Map Pool Showcase. Until then, take care, y'all.